Bolsonaro supporters advise these polls do not reflect the true opinions and desires of who the Latin people want in office. Bolsonaro is for the people. Bolsonaro last week said he expected to win in the first round. And if not, something abnormal will have happened, he said. Those comments have again raised fears that if he loses, the former Army captain could cry fraud and contest the results as former U.S. President Donald Trump did after the 2020 U.S. election. The population wants our government to continue. These polls are worthless, he said. Some analysts have pointed out that the pandemic-related delays to the census mean that the pollsters do not have the complete overview of the population, particularly in regards to weighting that should be given to different income groups. Now, this could affect the results. Word on the street, Lula has a higher proportion of voting intentions among the low-income population, and Bolsonaro has a great proportion of voting intentions among the higher income of people, so they say. Word on the streets of Brazil is that the voters were embarrassed not about supporting Bolsonaro, but rather Lula, giving the ex-president's association with a vast corruption scandal that rocked Brazil between 2014 and 2017. There's been issues with getting the low-income population to the polls. Phone interviews can't reach 10% of Brazilians who don't have access to a mobile phone or a house phone. The economy started recovering again, and unemployment is at its lowest since 2015, but many remain doing informal, occasional jobs, and rampant inflation put even sufficient basic food out of their reach. 33 million Brazilians were going hungry in the 6 months through April, according to a study by several nonprofit organizations, including Oxfam. Both Bolsonaro and Da Silva promised to boost government spending on the poor if they win, which would mean either skirting or scrapping a constitutional cap on expenses. Many Brazilians are leery, particularly regarding the incumbent whose 2023 budget proposal didn't include extensions of the welfare program at the same level. Welfare only arrived in late 2020, once they were already suffering from hunger. The $37 increase Bolsonaro authorized in August as part of his electoral push was consumed by inflation. Low-income Brazilians would have to show up in force on Sunday for Da Silva, known universally as Lula, to earn an outright majority of the votes in a multi-candidate field and secure a first-round victory. Though voting is legally mandatory in Brazil, the absentee rate is as high as 20%, which analysts believe could lead to an October 30th runoff. Bolsonaro and Lula appear headed for runoff in this historic Brazil election. Brazilians are headed to the polls again after neither of the country's leading presidential candidates won more than 50% of the vote in Sunday's historic election. The numbers were announced with 98.8% of the ballots counted late Sunday. This year's election is more important because we already went through 4 years of Bolsonaro, and today we can make a difference and give this country another direction. Former Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who is running for president again, waves upon his arrival to a polling station to vote in the general election in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Sunday, October 2nd, 2022. Several federal health officials stepped down as the pandemic raged, some citing his approach. Once again, happy independence to Brazil. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what's on your mind. Put it in the comments. I might reply. Let's get freedom. Let's get justice. Let's get equality. Let's unite and make the world a better place. Peace.
I'm out.